Hi there, welcome to this transmission. We will be talking about the ascension symptom of 2026. And yes, you're right. There is a particular area that's in focus, that's taking center stage for all star souls. And by star souls, I mean leaders, visionaries of New Earth, okay? Are you ready? Grab a pen and paper and let's listen in to this together. And yes, you clicked on this video because you saw what that is, right? It's the skin. It's the skin. And interestingly, when this message was coming through, and if you've been tracking with me for some time, then you know this, right? You know that I'm always given a color that is representative of the energy and the themes of the year. And this year, the color is yellow. And I want you to keep that in the back of your mind as you listen through this message, because those two things, the symptom or the area of the body in focus and the color yellow, are connected. Okay, so as we dive into this message, I want to talk first about the role of the skin for us as spiritual and physical beings. And then I want to dive deeper into the intuitive and spiritual aspect of the message, which is going to be grounding for you, but that is also going to help you to move forward as you navigate the things that are being communicated by this area of the body throughout the year. Are you ready? Let's take that deep breath. How much do you know about your skin? The skin is the largest organ of the body. And this is not going to be a biology lesson, but this is for you to bear in mind that the skin, it's your first line of defense. And it's not just a surface area. It is an intelligent aspect of you that is communicating with the world on your behalf. And whether that is giving messages about your inner environment or the environment that you're in, the skin is intelligently navigating these messages, sharing these messages with you. 2026 is a year that promises heightened activity in terms of exposure, in terms of light, warmth, illumination. And this is so connected to the high level message on the general energy of 2026 that I posted maybe yesterday or a few days ago, because it was titled Under Your Microscope. And I'll leave you to check that out. But with this heightened exposure, with this heightened illumination, comes a ton of truths being uncovered, a ton of areas that were hidden being brought to light. And when you think about the role of the skin in your well-being, recognize that the skin is the threshold, if you will, between your inner world and your outer world, but also between your soul and your physical experience. When you're thinking about the skin messages that may come up this year, I want you to consider that there's nothing broken. Your skin isn't malfunctioning. Your skin is communicating, because the skin translates, the skin remembers, the skin senses, and that's its job, right? Because that's your first line of defense against germs. It is the first boundary that everything encounters. And so it's so important that as you think about the role of the skin and the skin being in focus this year, that you remember that it has a specific language that it uses to give you insight into what is going on within. When you think about healthy skin, its role is to give you a first look at what's going on in the body. If there is dysregulation in the body, if there is inflammation, autoimmune issues happening in the body, the skin is usually the valve that opens up to release some of the pressure and to show the signs of something needing to be heard, something needing attention. Now, I hope you're tracking with me and that you're starting to make this make sense to you when you think about the role of ascension symptoms on your spiritual path. When your internal systems are overwhelmed, the skin starts to translate that with sensitivity, with redness, with reactivity. And so I want you to think now, has your skin shown a little bit of extra communication in recent times? Or do you find that your skin becomes quite chatty when you're in certain situations, when you're around certain people, when you're navigating certain spaces and emotional disturbances? And I want you to drop that in the comments if you are ready to share and ready to give yourself the safety and gentleness that's needed this year in order to soothe your skin, because we're getting somewhere with this. There is an overarching message that landed for Ascension Symptoms for 2026. So I want you to stay until the end so that you can hear that, because that's important for you to navigate this energy well. The skin this year isn't malfunctioning. Your skin is communicating. I want to say that again. Your skin this year isn't malfunctioning. Your skin is communicating, letting you know that there is something that you are processing internally that needs to be heard. And the thing about 2026 is, because you are being asked to step into the observer role, you're going to recognize that the body has less tolerance for things that don't feel good to it. Once again, you have to check out the 2026 energy video, okay? But it has less tolerance for what isn't truth. It has less tolerance for pretense, and it is leaning toward demanding truth, authenticity in 2026, depending on how you are navigating these energies, depending on where you are along your spiritual path. You may notice that the body goes into overdrive, being protective of you. This is the role of the skin, right? It is what senses temperature and adjusts as needed. It is what is sensing stress and helping you to navigate that. It is what is protecting you from pathogens on a daily basis. And so you will notice when the skin goes into overdrive, overprotectiveness, right? Because there are things that need to be processed within you. In 2026, you may notice patterns that reflect autoimmune responses, inflammatory responses. These are not like devils and enemies within that you're fighting. These are systems that have forgotten how to rest, that are seeking trust and safety. You're going to realize that some of you become more reactive to sunlight, to certain emotional states, certain people around you, that the body is hyper vigilant and hypersensitive. And please know that when this is happening, powerful soul, it's not because your body is trying to punish you. It's asking for you to soothe it, to recalibrate it, and to give it your ear. So we talked about this, right? That this year brings increased visibility, whether it is personal or collective. Emotional processing cycles are going faster. The body cannot tolerate suppression or delay like before, not under the heavy handedness of the light that is upon us. And the skin becomes a release valve. Skin symptoms are not a curse, they are guidance. So when you're navigating the symptoms that the skin is presenting, remember it's not working against you. It is reaching out to you for support, for guidance, for help. In 2026, the body is saying, slow down, pay attention, listen to me. Now, you may be wondering, like, what areas of the skin will be affected, Elizabeth? So it's going to be so different for all of us, right? Because we're all at different spaces and phases of life. And so for some, the skin issues will surface in the face when you are questioning your identity, when you do not feel ready to be seen, when you feel as though you are exposing too much of yourself. But also skin issues may surface on the arms, the hands, if you are constantly in this space of giving and over giving, when there is not equal reciprocity in what you are doing. Think about skin issues on the legs, and that feels like when you allow yourself to stay stuck in a situation with a person, in a project, in a partnership. But also there are those skin issues that will be gut related. And when I think about that, I think about a lack of trusting of your intuition. And let me say this once again, that you are going to move through this differently depending on where you are on your journey, depending on what's important for you at this time. And so the severity of the symptoms will also differ based on where you are on your journey and what you are processing at this time. When you think about the gut, I also want you to think symbolically that this is not just about, okay, what you are digesting in terms of food, but experiences that you've had that you haven't made peace with, that you haven't processed, that you've been ignoring, that you've been making hard for you to digest. There's a lot that's going on, and there's so much more that we can talk about as the year progresses. This year, you're being asked to listen as the body communicates, as the skin gives you messages about what's going on in your inner world, in your outer world, long before your brain can identify it. So with every flare this year, with every redness, every moment of reactivity, I want you to ask yourself this: where do I need to be gentler with myself? Because let's face it, when it comes on to skin issues, there is this element of harshness and self-blame and shame that if we're not careful, we can fall into. And so it's going to be critical as you navigate 2026 for you to bear in mind that the skin is not the enemy, that the skin isn't punishing you, that the skin is simply communicating with you and asking that you listen. Okay. When you think about healing in 2026, because I know you're asking this, like, how do I get out of this space where my skin is chatty? How do I get out of this space where these skin issues are real because they're not easy to navigate? And it comes back to this idea of yellow. And I love it because for those of you who know a little bit about the tarot, or not, when you think about yellow, you think about the sun, you think about brightness and brilliance, you think about clarity, visibility. And in the tarot, whenever you pull the sun card, it could be close to the worst cards in the deck. Whenever you pull the sun card, it transmutes all the energies around it. It also trumps all the energies around it. And the thing that could have felt volatile, could have been stressful, could have been like a disaster, is saved with the sun. And so be sure this year to also check with your providers, your physicians about, the sun vitamin. And you should know what that is. If you don't, I'll drop it in the comments below. Because many of you may feel supported with that. Okay. All right. So here are a few other things that you can do. Healing this year is not, and I have a few notes here. So healing in 2026 is not going to be about control. It's going to be about regulation. So the nervous system sets the tone for the skin. And when the internal pressure lowers, the skin softens. When the internal pressure lowers, the skin softens. So here are some ways that you can support that rhythm. Rest, presence. Rest, presence. Gentle sunlight. You notice I'm saying gentle sunlight because this is not about overexposure. This is not about anything harsh. This is not about, harsh lines on the body. This is not about overdoing. It is about finding your rhythm and finding your sweet spot, whatever that is for you. Maybe simpler routines, fewer demands on yourself, listening before responding, calming the body so that the skin no longer needs to speak so loudly. You may feel the need in 2026 to spaz out a little bit, because we all know skin issues can be uncomfortable physically, emotionally, psychologically. I want you to remember that your body is not behind, that your body isn't broken, that the best thing you can give to your body is safety, security, authenticity, and the ability to not just speak, but to live its truth. Remember, I promised you an overarching message for essential symptoms and how to deal with them for 2026. And this is it. Calm the body, clear the skin. Let me say that one more time. Calm the body, clear the skin. That means less time focused on identifying with the messages that are being shown to you, the symptoms that are being shown to you, and more time focusing on being at ease, showing up and being present, and being gentle and kind to yourself. Being gentle and kind to yourself. Yeah, some days you might feel frustrated. And this is not about bypassing the emotions that want to come up. This is about allowing yourself to lean into what is surfacing for you, what is coming up as your truth, the messages that the body are asking you to be mindful of, leaning into them so that you can meet it with sincerity and gentleness. The skin clears, not because you fight against it, but because you honor its messages by listening. The question for you for 2026, Star Soul, is not whether your body is speaking, but whether you are listening. I'm sending you so much love for 2026. I will see you again in our next video. If you haven't joined the family yet, be sure to hit the subscribe button, turn your notifications on, comment below so I know whether or not these messages are landing with you. As we learn to listen to the skin, many of us will reconsider how we're meeting the world. And we're going to talk about that next. Bye for now.